Joe Lang with High Pulse Outdoors, and today I'm going to talk a little bit about why I went from my Chevy Silverado, which is a great truck, to a Toyota 4Runner for hunting and fishing. Check it out. So last year I traded in my 2020 Chevy Silverado Custom. It was a great truck, and I traded it in for a 2020 4Runner with very low mileage. Now, as a hunter and fisherman, you might say, why would you trade in a truck for an SUV? Well, I have a couple of reasons why, but first I want to point out some of the pros of having a truck. So obviously the pro is having the truck bed. You can throw anything in there, and it doesn't matter if it's clean or dirty, but you can throw a lot of stuff in there, haul a lot of things. Pull, obviously, with the truck, it has a higher towing capacity than a lot of SUVs, and it was great. I really enjoyed it, went on several hunting and fishing trips on it with it, and it really did me well. But one of the things that I found as a busy dad that goes to work, working 40-50 hours a week, I live in the city, is that there are some inconveniences of a truck. So, you know, one, of course, anybody that owns a truck, sometimes the spaces are a little too small in the parking lots. And so maneuvering in and out of those spaces can be a little cumbersome at times. Not bad, but a little bit. And then two, you know, I do a lot of stuff around town. I only have a limited amount of time. I am only hunting and fishing maybe 10% of the time. So 90% of the time, I needed something that was more family oriented. I personally also, I golf a lot. So I like just throwing my clubs in the back of an SUV and knowing that it's locked and secured. And of course, you can always get truck bed covers that will lock and secure your items, but you know, it's part of the car. So I did decide to go back to an SUV. I hunted out of an SUV for years before I got the truck. And although I loved the truck, and who's to say I may get another one, I did decide to go with the Toyota 4Runner Limited. Toyota 4Runners are known for their longevity. This vehicle will stay in our family for years because I am most likely going to pass it on to one of my sons. So great SUV, very reliable. Now, I did do a couple of things to make this 4Runner a little bit more off-roady. Now, the Limited, it is limited on what you can do. The other 4Runner models, there's a lot more that you can do with them. But this one really worked, really liked the interior and the convenience, some of the technology in the Limited, and I decided to go with it. But let me show you a couple things on what I did to get this a little bit more off-road ready. And to be honest, when I say off-road, I'm talking gravel roads. I'm going through regular grass roads, grass in the fields. I'm not going and doing rock climbing in this. I'm not plowing through a bunch of CRP. I am just using this to get around, get through the mud, and go, use it that way. Now, like I used my truck, I really didn't use the truck as a complete off-road vehicle. So let me show you some of the things that I did, and we can go from there. The very first thing I did on this truck is I got a roof rack, the crossbars for the roof rack on here. I use these a lot, especially when I go into the hardware store, buy in some 2x4s for a project at home. I can just lay these across the top, strap them down with the crossbars, and go home. So really convenient in that aspect of it. and I didn't really feel like I was losing too much of the truck bed with the truck when I was able to strap a couple of boards on the back there, or a ladder, etc. You know, does it take a little bit more time? Absolutely, than just throwing it into the truck bed, but it's still convenient. Next thing I did is I got off-road tires. So I ended up getting these off-road tires. They are all-terrain tires, kind of beef up the tires there, especially going through mud and gravel and wet mud and gravel. I really wanted a little bit more traction in the tires, so I got very similar tires that I did for my truck, and they've worked great. Another thing I did is I wanted to lift the 4Runner up a little bit. Now, I did not go with a full lift kit. I went with a 2-1 leveling kit. So in the front, it is raised 2 inches in the front and 1 inch in the back, giving me about 2.5 inches between the lift and the tires, more clearance for the 4Runner. So I'm really happy so far. I've had the lift kit for a year. Haven't seen a difference in anything on how it's driving, gas mileage or anything. So really happy with the leveling kit, lifting it up a few inches off the ground. So if I might in the future, next time we get tires, maybe even go with an actual lift kit. I would say for me, I'd probably only lift it about, a total of 3 inches. But right now, the leveling kit, it cost me like $800. So $800 to buy the kit and have it installed by somebody. Well worth the money. I'm happy with it. And I would suggest if you do have a 4Runner Limited, that definitely is a possibility for you. Now you're probably saying, Joe, all that cargo room you had in the truck, what are you going to do now that you switched to an SUV? Well, let me show you. I have plenty of room in the SUV. Now, I can use this as a family car where there's 4 or 5 of us in there. I'll pop the seat back up, but most of the time it's just me and my son that ride around in this vehicle. So I end up keeping the front seat, the back seat down, one side of the back seat down. And as you can see right here, I have fishing poles in here. Yeah, they stick a little bit up to the front. Not a big deal when I'm just going to a little fishing trip. Plus, a lot of times I keep them in my boat. So plenty of cargo room. When I'm hunting, this more going out, especially when I go to Wisconsin hunting. I'm here in Iowa, so I take a longer trip. I got more than enough room for bows, guns, coolers, my gear, plenty of room. A lot of times I don't even need that seat flipped back down. But again, as a golfer, I like just sliding my clubs in there and then taking them out every Wednesday for golf. So able to really have a lot of room here. And the biggest thing is with the truck, even when I had a cover on, going down gravel road, it's like some of the gravel, you do your best to seal it as much as you can, but some of that gravel seeps in, swirls around, and just drops. Now, I mean, when I'm talking about my hunting stuff, it's always covered in a tote or a bag, but still, a layer of dust on everything. Just for me, I enjoyed everything a little bit cleaner. That way, it's not an issue if I need to take it out, put it down in the house in my workshop, not tracking in dust and everything. That's just me personally. That was the biggest thing for me moving from a truck to an SUV, is just the convenience of keeping everything inside and locked. So if you go on a hunting trip, you need to keep stuff in the back. You don't have to worry about someone possibly breaking in to the back of your truck and taking your gear. This, it's always locked, and there's plenty of room. Now, when we're hunting, a lot of times I quarter out in the field where I'm at, if I'm able to. And so, or when I go to other places, we quarter it out, put it, debone the meat and put them in coolers. But if you're unable to do that, you can get a carrier. And I do have one at home. And I have, and when I've had SUVs before, taken deer from wherever I'm hunting, putting them on the carrier, wrapping them in a tarp, and then just taking them home. I've taken them across states that way. Always make sure you're legal when you're doing that, but it's really not an issue. Now, for those bigger items that you would need a truck bed for, those bigger, longer items that you're getting at the hardware store doing a big project, that's where my video about my Harbor Freight 4x8 foot trailer that folds up, I store it in the garage, that's where that comes into play. So I mean, with an SUV and a small trailer like that, I mean, I spent about $600 on that trailer. And so between the two, I essentially have the best of both worlds. I have a truck bed if I need to, and then I have the SUV to keep everything nice, clean, and locked up. So if you're trying to decide if you should go from a truck to an SUV or an SUV to a truck, hopefully this video helps out with a few pros and cons. Now, I will say that it's all personal preference. There's a lot of great trucks out there. There's a lot of great SUVs. If you're going for an SUV, you know, I've had a Toyota Sequoia. It was awesome. Loved it. And put over 200,000 miles on it. Great car. Hopefully my 4Runner, I highly recommend the 4Runner. It's easy to maneuver. It's great in the garage. You can walk around it. Where my truck, in my garage, I couldn't. And, you know, very durable SUV. There's a lot of great SUVs out there. Whether you're a Chevy, Ford, or a Toyota guy, or Dodge, you know, you'll find an SUV that fits for you. Or if you like the trucks, stick with the trucks. I've had 3 or 4 trucks, loved them all, but I decided to go back to this. And like I said, this thing hopefully will run forever, and I'll hand it down. But like and subscribe to this YouTube channel. You look for us out on social media, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and X. So until next time, keep chasing your high pulse moment.